A career does not have to be a straight line. You don't have to stay in one career and feel that, okay, maybe I studied this and this is what I'm supposed to do. My first choice was working in journalism. The very common misconception that my family also had towards journalism. They felt like you'll always be on the go, you'd not know what you to do with yourself, you'll be pushed into uncomfortable situations. They felt like it was way too glamorous. And there are a lot of people who have pivoted into a career in sustainability. And it's a melting pot of talent. You have people from all walks of life. But people have a mindset that this entire sector is only focused on philanthropy and charitable causes. But there's a lot more to it. Storytelling was not a recognized skill for the longest time. So the fact that I know that this is a very strong skill as one of my strengths, and the fact that all of my career choices have come together to enhance or strengthen that skill. I realized that there is a whole universe of careers out there that focuses only on storytelling and content creation. Don't wait to feel ready. Take the leap. And it might be scary, but it's really worth it. The clarity that you're looking for, it always comes when you start. Change is something that is slow. Change doesn't come in one day. And whoever you are and the choices that you make, it helps you become a certain person. A work day is still 9-10 hours of your life. And you can't continue to do something if you're not truly happy doing it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Discover You Career Journeys. This is the place where everyday professionals, entrepreneurs, and even students share the moments that define their career paths, the victories they smile about, and the tiny steps that made all the difference. We'll bring you honest and inspiring conversations with career changers, coaches, HR leaders, and yes, even those who reinvented themselves during midlife career transitions. As a friendly community for anyone seeking career clarity, we bring you inspiring real life stories plus expert tips you can actually use. So grab a cup of chai, settle in, and let's kick off an honest chat packed with simple, powerful advice to help you chart your own career journey. Hello and welcome to Discover You Career Journeys. Today we're excited to be joined by Shreya Maria Kuruvilla, currently serving as a Senior Brand Solutions Lead at Shebang and based in Mumbai. Originally from Delhi, Shreya has always chosen the path less taken. She was the first in her family to opt for arts in grade 12 and the only one to follow that passion all the way to a BA honors in history from St. Stephen's College, and later an MA in sustainable development practices from Terry University. Her career has been anything but linear, starting with nearly a decade in the social impact sector, working at the intersection of program design, stakeholder engagement, and strategic communications. She's led impactful roles at organizations like the American India Foundation and Samhita Social Ventures, managing large scale development programs, earning accolades for her performance and relationship building at Capgemini and Samhita. Shreya's current role in advertising marks a bold and intentional pivot. At Shebang, she brings her background in impact driven work into the world of brand communication. For her, this role is a strategic stepping stone, one that brings her close to her vision of her career in content creation, where storytelling, purpose, and creativity intersect. Beyond her professional life, Shreya is a storyteller in every sense. Whether she's writing, reading, traveling, meeting new people, or attending stand up comedy shows, she's always on the lookout for fresh perspectives that fuel her creativity. Shreya, it's a pleasure to have you and welcome to Discover You Career Journeys.
Thank you, Nahida, for having me.
Okay, so before we dive in, can you tell us a bit about where you are today in your career journey and what a typical day looks for you?
Sure. So, firstly, thank you for having me, Nahida. And I am Shreya, and I work in advertising. I mean, I have just, in fact, recently shifted into advertising after a 9 year long career in the social sector. I get in early and work a full day intense, my full day intense work starts probably in the second half of the day. And how I start my day is by checking emails, responding to messages, connecting with my team. I am a people's person, so I like, starting my day by talking to people, understanding what's going on, really getting into the depth of things. And then I sort of move on to slowly collaborate with my team, support them in, essential tasks. And I spent the latter half of my day then focusing on important operational deliverables, whether it is like closing on approvals or, reviewing certain work, clearing certain action items. That's what I typically do. And then I sort of wrap my day between 7:30 to 8. So once I come back home, I set aside an hour or so for studying, and then I settle in with dinner and call it a night. So that's what a typical work day looks for me.
Great. So let's rewind a bit and talk about some of your earliest creative memories here. Looking back at your BA in history from St. Stephen's, what drew you to studying history?
I love that question because I have a fascinating answer to that. The thing is that what drew me to history is simply a textbook. And it's a different answer because, typically none of us really remember our school textbooks, right? But this textbook changed the way I looked at a subject. So in the eighth grade, my history textbook was not an NCRT textbook. In fact, it was the only subject that did not have an NCRT textbook. It was visually more engaging, and there was a lot that was written. And the moment I opened the book and I started reading, I felt like I'm reading a lot of stories. I felt like, I was diving into a world with so many possibilities. And I could just feel my imagination come alive. And a lot of people look at history and they look at it as something that is dense, something that needs to be memorized. Whereas when I looked at it, I felt like, these are instances, these experiences, lived experiences, which have so many layers and hidden possibilities. So it just deepened and fueled my interest, to pursue history further. So eventually, when I got to, grade 12, when I completed my board exams, I decided to, take an honors course in history. And the best part is that it enabled or it helped me develop critical thinking. It helped me look at, every experience or any possibility from a different vantage point. And even our classrooms sort of came alive with these discussions that we had,
Yeah.
from what we read. So that's how what drew me into history and, studying it basically.
Fascinating. But did you have any kind of motive here to do history in your undergrad typically? Like, was there any outcome that you were looking at?
So initially, a lot of people, I mean, my classmates and people around me all wanted to kind of pursue a career either in academia or get into the civil services. So I was thinking of, pursuing UPSC. I did study for it as well, but then I also realized that the aspect of UPSC where where you can get to connect with people or really just like work with them very closely, because if I do clear UPSC, I mean at some point I would be in a decision making position very early on in life. And for me, what was more important was to connect with people and understand them, understand realities for what they are. So I decided to, shift my career path, and and somehow I stumbled upon like basically this NGO called WWF India, and I did my internship with them. And I realized that there is something called a social sector, and one can pursue a career in that.
That was kind of the initial pivot with history. Now, I'm going to come back to the UPSC a bit. Was there a family member or a mentor or a teacher to kind of guide those decisions? Was that the reason why you considered doing what you did with the history and then preparing for UPSC in the initial years?
So actually, UPSC wasn't exactly, I mean, if you ask me, my first choice. So I liked storytelling and I liked connecting with people. And what I enjoyed, what I felt was the most possible career out of it was working in journalism and pursuing a career in journalism. I did talk to my family about it, and I think they weren't too keen on me pursuing journalism because they felt like it was way too glamorous, and they probably felt it wouldn't work out for me. And because of that, I mean, and also I wasn't too confident, back then. So because I had that. Uh, I mean, that thought process, I thought that, maybe I shouldn't take it up. But naturally and very instinctively, that was the first choice that came to my mind. Then the second choice, because I was talking to a lot of people, and like my classmates were, I mean, had certain career choices in their mind, so I naturally took up the one that I felt worked for me. But this was purely on the basis of conversation with others. So I didn't really
Yes.
go to a mentor or a family member, for that guidance. So
Yeah.
that's
You were going with the flow at that point of time.
correct. Yes.
I just want to, before we move into the next section, I just want to dive a little bit about the journalism misconceptions. Do you feel there were any specific misconceptions besides the glamour and besides you not being confident getting into the field of journalism? Are there any things that people are going through or emotions that are kind of going through when they consider the field of journalism?
Yeah, I do feel like there are misconceptions associated with the culture of journalism. Like people feel like you need to be very ruthless, and you need to, you need to like forget where you come from if you want to pursue a career in journalism. But I don't think that is the case. I feel like every job can be ruthless. I mean, I worked in the social sector, and that has its share of ruthlessness as well. So every job is difficult, every career and every journey is difficult. And I do feel like if you have to learn or grow anywhere, you do need to put in your effort and yourself into what you're doing. So that is a very common misconception about journalism, and in fact that was also a very common misconception that my family also had towards journalism. They felt like you'll always be on the go, or you'd not know what you to do with yourself, you'll be pushed into uncomfortable situations. But that's true for any job.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so let's unfold your career journey a bit for the audience. From then on, you pivoted into an MA in sustainability development. Just for our audience, in one sentence, what is sustainability development? Just to give them an idea about this.
So sustainable development as a course evolve. I mean, basically, if I have to describe it in one line, it's applying the concept of sustainability in everything. So whether it's a business, or whether it's a program, or whether it's just a perspective, applying sustainability in everything that you do is what sustainable development was all about. But our course, I mean, essentially was also focused on sustainable development in the context of rural communities. So
Okay.
that's what I mean, kind of did. Yeah.
And what motivated you? Obviously, you did join an NGO after you graduated from your history, but was that the only motivation for you to pursue an MA in this field? How did that kind of deepen or shift your sense of purpose at that time to take up something like this?
So the masters in sustainability that I did was, a very well balanced course. It had the perfect balance of theoretical and practical. The course was I mean, you had practical realities embedded into the course itself. So you had opportunities to go on the field, interact with people, learn from those experiences. You had to write research papers or make presentations based on your interaction with the communities. And I felt like the fact that there was a course that allowed you to uh, work or deep dive into lived experiences, and like get an understanding or learn from that is why I wanted to pursue this particular course. So more than the career, when I basically chose this course, it was specifically for the curriculum, the faculty, and the kind of experience that I would have studying sustainability is why I took it.
Yeah. And I think that's very important also for any course that someone chooses, right? To understand those areas of faculty, the curriculum. Um, but during or after MA, what kind of roles did you explore in sustainability? I'm sure you must have had internships during the program, which might have trained you to get into a specific role. But maybe you can shed a little light on that and what other roles one could probably explore in that field.
So, I mean, at the back of my mind, I always wanted to, do something similar to journalism. I mean, uh, of course, I mean, from what my limited understanding of the kind of careers that existed within storytelling, I also felt like, okay, maybe, if this is not working out, why not? Why don't I do something where I connect with people? So I
Yes,
decided to finish my master's and also take up a role where I just, push myself outside of my comfort zone and live and learn, realities for what they are. So that's why I took up a role where I had to live in a semi-urban, part of India. I lived in Hardoi for a good 2 years.
and where is
I,
that?
Hardoi is in Uttar Pradesh. It's actually an hour from Lucknow.
Okay,
It's a small town, and
okay.
I mean, on a daily basis, my workday would involve interacting with the local communities. So every program that we had to initiate, every journey that we had to figure out, even if it was a simple education program, it was you could see those realities unfold. It wasn't just like a paper pen discussion in a closed room. It wasn't just a conference room discussion. You could see those programs unfold, right in front of you. So I felt that, I mean, that itself gave me an adrenaline rush because I could connect with people and, like really see how things work. So I did this role really challenged me to push myself out of my comfort zone. I grew up in South Delhi. I had all the privileges possible. And for me to then take up a role that was in a very different landscape, emotionally and socially, it was challenging, but I did feel like I learned a whole lot from that experience.
That's amazing. You did shift many roles after that, and you were in this sector for quite some time, and some very interesting organizations that you worked with. But was there a moment where there was perhaps a point of uncertainty that made you think this isn't what I want to do?
Um, if I, in a very pragmatic sense, I mean, there were times I felt like I was underpaid and overworked. I mean,
Yes.
that was definitely something I felt very strongly sometimes. Also because of my preferences and my background, sometimes I would feel a little singled out because, I was different maybe with the way I spoke or simply because of the choices I had. And other than that, I mean, eventually I also realized that there is a lot of creative potential that I just can't channelize into, the role that I have. It's not anyone's fault, and it's not because there wasn't an opportunity. It was just simply not the role. So, that's when I realized maybe this is not something that I wanted to do. Wherever there were spaces to put myself, to work with, I mean, to create or do something new, I would do that. Like, for example, if I had to organize an event or something as simple as making a flyer or writing an article. I would write articles. I would write like blurbs or write any content creation work. I would, whatever little piecemeal work that came to me, I would do that, but it wasn't the goal of the role or the organization. So that's when I realized that maybe it's time for me to figure something else out. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, and that's when the concept of branding came in, or like any 3 4 steps that you kind of did to take or move into this specific field of branding. We've spoken a lot about this area, but how an advertising agency and how branding kind of unfolded.
So it was a long journey, long and difficult journey for sure, because I was in the social sector for 9 years.
Yes.
Uh, and yes, of course, it had a role to play in the person that I am today. But what happened was that there came a point where I wanted to work on myself. So I embarked on a self discovery journey, both personally and professionally. And I came across your profile actually when I was scouting on the internet.
Yes.
And because what was lacking in the initial years of my life was proper guidance, a guidance in terms of understanding what I wanted and and what are my actual true skills and where can I apply it. I didn't
Yes.
want to be restricted to like three, four choices that we just know. Because again, I came from a background where everybody, I mean, mostly people were from STEM based fields. And, everyone either, pursued an engineering or a medicine or, like came from those career choices. So wherever I went or the choices I made was based on what I felt passionate about. And but then when I came across your profile online, I spoke to you and I realized that there is a whole universe of careers out there that focuses only on storytelling and content creation. And I understood the skills that I had as well. So then I think we worked together for a while to figure what I should do and where do I see myself basically. I wanted
Yeah.
to understand, what is it that I want to do? Because a work day is still 9, 10 hours of your life. And, you can't continue to do something if you're not truly happy doing it.
Yeah.
And I know happy is a very, I mean, it's a very vague word to be used here. I mean, it's ambiguous in so many ways. But what I meant is that there should be some sense of fulfillment that you get out of what you're doing. And um, that's when I started exploring different, roles, different careers, and I connected with a lot of people. I
Yeah.
I opened up my LinkedIn profile to a point where I just started networking, researching what people do. I connected with people across the globe that and it wasn't just for the purpose of a job. It was just for the purpose of knowing, what people do.
Yeah.
And I, in fact, connected with a lady who works with an impact consulting firm, and her work was very similar to what I used to do. But I just wanted to know what she did because her profile seemed super interesting. So we just randomly connected on one Friday night and just started talking. And that was the first time I felt like, okay, I'm not doing this for a job, or I don't have an end goal. I'm just doing it because I want to know what people are doing. And then eventually I understood that, okay, you know what, why don't I get into branding? So out of all the four, five, things that I listed down as my skill set, this was one area where I strongly felt that, I should apply myself. And I really feel like there's a lot for me to learn. Even today, like, when I go to my workplace or, when I interact with people from this industry, there's so much energy. And I feel like, there's a lot to learn. So that's how I sort of eventually, got into branding. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Let's talk a little bit about the obstacles you faced and how you overcame them. Pivoting from sustainability into brand strategy must have brought about challenges. Can you share any significant hurdles, whether it was learning, building credibility, or even financial worry? Were those some of the concerns that you had, or some of the steps that you had to take to make those changes specifically?
So, building credibility, like you said, was a very significant obstacle because I don't come from a media, educational background. I have not done journalism or advertising. I mean, I didn't study that. And I had worked in the social sector for 9 years. So for me to pivot into a career that was completely different and focused on, content creation was difficult because I had to position myself as a professional who has worked or done things that are related to communication, or I am a person with creative potential, so I had to convey that to people. And that was difficult because that meant meeting a lot of people, talking to them, taking time out from them, and also finding people who were willing to listen, to the voice that I was trying to share. So that was definitely difficult. And during that process, so there was a point where I felt two very important things. One was that I felt that, okay, I definitely do not want to do what I'm doing right now, and I mean, that's, a lot of people feel like, okay, this is too hard and maybe, it's not meant for me, or, there is no solution or possibility. So I also had that moment of doubt where I was exploring, a career for, pivoting my career in branding. And I felt that maybe I should just stay where I am, because I'm earning and I'm kind of sorted in a certain way. There is a sense of stability. But then I just wasn't happy with what I was doing. And it wasn't anybody else's fault. It was just simply that, I didn't find that purpose. And I realized that's when my husband and I sat down and had this conversation. And I realized that, okay, even if I have to take a step where if financially it would take a backseat, where, even if I have to take on a volunteering job or intern somewhere or take on an entry level position, I was willing to do that. And it was a very conscious choice. And because I made that conscious choice, actually, it was very evident in the way I spoke to people and in the pitch that I made, in the sense that I was a lot more willing. Otherwise, typically, every time people spoke to me or asked me tough questions, I came across as a person who was a little conflicted because, probably I wasn't very sure. But the moment I had that conversation, I realized that, okay, you know what? There is financial worry, but I will have to take that step and deal with it. And it wasn't the first time, but I thought, why not do it again? I mean, if I've done it before, I can do it
Yes.
again. And that was a significant obstacle that I had to overcome. And yeah, eventually I came across a role in Shebang, which was actually recommended by my friend my former colleague actually in Samita, and that's how I sort of came here.
Lovely. I do know that you also transitioned roles within the organization that you were working to kind of
Yes,
get a little bit more into understanding branding or communication or
yes,
storytelling at that point of time. But I think the clarity is very important uh,
yes,
because when you do come across with conflicting thoughts, or I can go back to what I want to do, maybe this seems more comfortable, I don't want to make the effort to kind of transition, it comes across very clearly, and people then are not sure whether you're going to commit fully in that
that's
area.
true.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, great. As you grow into now your role as as branding solutions lead role at Shebang, are there any major mind shifts that you have at this point of time?
So one is that firstly, when I talk about when you ask me about mind shifts, I'll tell you the things that actually work. So at Shebang, I'm currently in a very ops heavy role, and I do come from a project management background, so a lot of my skills are transferable skills. So that was exactly the pitch that I made, when I had taken up this opportunity, that I come from a background where I have worked in an ops heavy role and I have been on my toes. So it's the same thing here, even though the kind of operations that you have to do is different, but it is still it is still considerably new, but it's something that I'm familiar with. So that's one. In terms of a mindset shift, firstly, the language and the that people use and the terms that people use on a daily basis was new for me, and I had to learn how to sort of incorporate that in my communication and in the way I conducted and carried myself. So that was a mindset shift. That is a genuine mindset shift that I have to adopt and incorporate, and I'm still working on it. In fact, I took up an online course with Micah to be able to learn beyond my workplace and what and to also just basically understand the basics of branding and advertising. So that's how I'm sort of focusing on brand strategy and branding as a concept and
Yeah,
learning the words.
I think there are certain habits and tools that you've kind of used that have helped you overcome, these. And these are not really challenges, but these are things that will make you more confident, I believe, in the field. So, what are you currently doing to stay relevant besides obviously the MICA course? But anything else that you're doing to kind of expand your skills or grow into what's next in this area?
So I'm a lot more on social media. A lot of people say that you should stay away from social media, but I have
You're probably using it for the right reasons, so that's good.
exactly, yeah. That's a change and a genuine mindset change where I just, stay up to date and I know what's trending. Like even if you scroll through reels, you'll know what's trending. And interestingly, that's useful in a branding career because that kind of drives how you position content and how your campaigns should be. So I to stay relevant, I do use social media a lot more. So yeah, I mean that's definitely one mindset shift that I mean a habit that has changed. And the other thing is that I am actually taking out time for myself, because that was something I never did. I mean people talked about it and I talked about it, but I never really did that so seriously. But now I realize that in a career that's all consuming with your time and effort, because branding is emotional in so many ways, right? So you do apply yourself a lot, at your workplace on a daily basis. So when I come back, I do like to unwind and do something for myself. Whether it's just opening my laptop, opening a notebook, and just writing. I like doing that. That's a great creative outlet for me.
Let's talk about some practical takeaways, Shreya, about that would kind of be helpful for our audience. For someone considering a career in sustainability, any two, three practical steps that you would recommend?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that if you want to consider a career in sustainability, you have to understand the landscape. You need to know who the players are. Like, you need to know, I mean, what are international organizations, what are grassroots organizations, what does CSR do, how do corporates play a role in sustainability. So, those are things I think one needs to understand before you get into it. Secondly, it is heavy on networking. You need to know who's connected to who does what, and it's a smaller space, so everyone knows everybody. So I think you need to know network very well, and you need to start following like trending content on sustainability also. Like there are a lot of new mechanisms or reporting practices within sustainability, so you need to stay updated on that if that's something you want to take up. The third thing I seriously feel like people should do when they consider a career or pivot into sustainability is try doing a smaller course, or basically try small experiments, do a course or volunteer, or maybe not do a course but probably just volunteer or take up a consulting gig, or uh, contribute to a research project, because then you'll understand how people think and you'll also understand what
Yeah,
is expected of you. So these are the
yeah.
two, three things I would recommend if
I think
anyone
it
wants to
also
pick this career.
bridges the gap between the academic and the industry role. So I think these would probably be the small experiments or like activities, like an internship also. And there's a lot of pro bono
Yes.
work that you can kind of do. Like you rightly said, networking with the right people. And I feel
Yes.
like that would be in all the fields, right? That would be in journalism if you did, that would be in MA in sustainability, and that would also be in the current branding and strategy and content development that you're doing. So those would probably be the smaller things that you do to make bigger leaps, I guess.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And in fact, there are a lot of people who have pivoted into a career in sustainability, especially, I mean, when the ones who come from corporate and, the ones, and I mean, it's a melting pot of talent I mean, this particular sector. So you have people from all walks of life, but people have a mindset that this entire sector is only focused on philanthropy and charitable causes, but
Hmm.
there's a lot more to it. And I feel like the more you volunteer and you work, in different spaces, you'll understand those aspects of the sector, and maybe that will help you also realize whether that's something you want to do or not.
Yeah. Yeah. As you moved from history to a sustainability to brand strategy, how did you weave those kind of experience into a career narrative? I think I'm asking you this question especially because a lot of people pivot, like you rightly said. They probably pivot exactly what you like from a corporate role into CSR or corporate role into sustainability. But when you kind of also pivoted, I'm sure those were one of the clear questions that were asked in an interview or when you are networking. What was something that you spoke about here?
I start from the beginning. So I was very clear about having storytelling as a very important skill. I mean, storytelling it was not a recognized skill for the longest time. So the fact that I know that this is a very strong skill out of this is one of my strengths, is something that I feel. And the fact that all of my career choices have sort of come together to enhance or strengthen that skill. So if you ask me who I am as a professional today, I could say that what so one is that storytelling with a purpose is something that I feel very strongly. So storytelling was enabled through history. I mean, the fact that I took a course, the fact that I studied so many. I mean, I studied experiences. I studied history, and I was able to think of things from different vantage points. From a very critical thinking point of view, or from an analytical point of view, or simply from a conceptual point of view. And I learned that skill of just simply writing because of history. So building complex narratives was something I learned from there. And then through my work in the social sector, I learned how to connect with communities and with people, and to also communicate with impact. It's not just simply delivering information, but to also speak to people where they feel that, okay, this is something that is going to work for them, or that's going to be useful for them. And then now I'm working in brand strategy, which is a completely emotionally driven space where you have to create content, you have to create emotionally resonant stories. And that's what branding and brand strategy is all about. So for me, if you ask me, storytelling with a sense of purpose, which is emotionally driven, is where I am today, and it's what made me who I am. So even though when I was, let's say, pursuing history, or pursuing a career in sustainability, it wasn't as clear, but today it really is, because now when I am in advertising, or I am in my sector, I bring within it a very unique perspective, which is, to communicate with impact, or to communicate with purpose, or to just build stories based on my experiences. And I'm able to articulate those experiences really well. So that's how, that's how I would talk about myself.
And while the story is still unfolding,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think,
Yes.
uh, you know, is there a book idea or a conversation that kind of comes to your mind from your journey that still kind of inspires you, Shreya, today?
So, there is a person who inspires me till today, and it's her personality. So, Arundhati Roy has always been someone I would look up to, because firstly, simply the way she just writes, she would like always have every sentence in her book would be so heavy on emotion, and it would be so complex. And I remember when I first started reading God of Small Things, it took me a while to just understand what she has written in that one paragraph. And then to actually become this person who spoke at conferences and spoke at events. Like, there's this one quote that she has, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can still hear her breathing. So it made me feel like change is something that is slow. Change doesn't come in one day. And whoever you are and the choices that you make, it helps you become a certain person. But you don't always see that. You don't see it in one day. Or I'm sitting today and I can't just say that, okay, maybe 10 years from now I'm going to be this person. You
Yeah,
can't do that, right? It's the
yeah.
choices that you make. So yeah, I mean, everything that she says gives me goosebumps. The way she talks, and she's not a super flamboyant person. She is so grounded in reality, and and the way she delivers her thoughts is something that inspires me even today. Tomorrow, if I meet her somewhere, I will be spellbound. I wouldn't know how to
She
talk.
might hear this interview and you never know, hoping that she watches this.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking back, Shreya, what's one decision, big or small, that you're especially grateful you made at this point?
I think just the subjects that I chose to study, like whether it was pursuing history or pursuing a master's in sustainability, both of these choices actually defined my worldview. I remember that even when I was in the 12th grade, and I had to like make that choice. So I had to either choose, let's say, subjects which were probably not very honors or program heavy subjects. That, I mean, I could basically choose a course which had multiple subjects together. So I could maybe do political science and history and sociology together. You had courses that did that. And you had a focused history honors course, which was in Stephen. So I But I clearly, so somebody asked me, a lot of people around me asked me, what are you going to do studying history? And I'm just like, I mean, what are people doing studying engineering? I don't know. People are becoming stand-up comedians. People are opening shops. I don't know. You have, it's not like, you study engineering and you're just going to get into like a corporate space or do an MBA, right? You do. So, so why can't you have the same flexibility and choice given to someone who wants to study history? I mean, why not? It's about learning. When you're at that age, I think you should focus on learning. I mean, and basically that's how you expand your mind and your worldview. So that really changed my life. And pursuing my master's was just an icing on the cake, because that I have never ever thought that I had come across a course in the Indian academic setup that was a perfect balance between theory and practical. It wasn't something just in a textbook, you could see it happen. So that's also another decision I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for.
And is there any advice you'd offer someone considering a similar path?
Um, I would just say, don't wait for yourself to be ready. Don't wait to feel ready. Just take the leap. And it might be scary, but it's really worth it. And it's not that I'm not scared every day. I mean, sometimes I wonder whether this is, great or not. But I do feel happy that I made this choice. And that's something that and whatever it is, whoever I am, I'm happy that I've made those choices. So don't wait to feel ready, and the clarity that you're looking for, it always comes when you start. You don't have, it doesn't come after you do something. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the story keeps changing and the story keeps unfolding,
Yeah.
just like yours. Um, so well, if people want to know, share more about your work, where can they find you on social media? I know you write. I know there is some sort of writing of yours somewhere in the social media world. So where can they find you?
So I have a page on Instagram. It's called Pineapple and Cinnamon. And why pineapple and cinnamon, you ask? It's because I really like pineapples. that's it. It wasn't a very well thought.
That's so
It was
simple and perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that. And so I like writing. So what are the things that I like? I just made a page that I felt was my own flavor, or the flavor that I resonated. So pineapple and cinnamon. And yeah, I mean, that's an Instagram page that I have. I also have a blog that I write on Blogspot. So if you just Google Shreya Kurvila at Blogspot,
Yeah,
which I will come.
we would be sure to include the links for our viewers in the description below. Anything else? Any last words? Anything else that you would like to close with, Shreya?
Uh, my last words would be: your career does not have to be a straight line. You don't have to stay in one career and feel that, okay, maybe I studied this and this is what I'm supposed to do. Your career, or your life, or those choices that you make are simply just your choices. So if you want to get up and pursue a career somewhere else, you don't have to wait to feel ready to do it. You should just leap and do it. That's all that I would say.
That's great. Thank you so much, Shreya, for sharing your experiences and your journey and your story with us today. And I wish you all the best. And I'm sure this will inspire our audience. And good luck on unfolding a new chapter
Thank
and
you.
writing your own chapter, rather. To our viewers, we hope you found this conversation insightful. Stay tuned for more episodes of Discover You Career Journeys, where we aim to bring you more inspiring stories. Thank you.
At the end of each career journey, we bring you the key learnings from our conversation with the guest. Here are the insights from Shreya Maria Kuruvila's story. Shreya demonstrates that a fulfilling career often follows a non-linear path. Each twist adds value. She highlights how storytelling isn't just a skill, but the engine for meaningful communication. Her history background fuels that creativity, giving her stories depth and insight. In sustainability, she learned that networking is essential for finding and seizing opportunities. She also shows us the power of practical experiences, fieldwork, and volunteering that transform theory into real-world impact. To pivot successfully, Shreya had to overcome self-doubt and embrace continuous learning, even taking on entry-level roles to build credibility. She reminds us that in branding, emotional resonance is key. People connect with feeling as much as information. Finally, she leaves us with this truth: the most rewarding careers are those that align with your passions. Let Shreya's journey inspire you to weave your own unique story.
Thank you for watching this inspiring conversation on Discover You Career Journeys. If you've enjoyed this chat, hit the like button and let me know in the comment section which part of today's story inspired you most. And if you have questions about your own career or want to hear from people in a specific industry, drop those suggestions below as well. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a new career journey. It may just be the inspiration you were looking for. Until next time, stay happy.